Hey everyone, this is Louis7, and today I have some news for the Lord of the Rings Online regarding update 31.0.3, which is coming out tomorrow, December 2nd, that is Thursday. The maintenance isn't actually listed here, but presumably it is 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And also, I have some news on update 31.1, the beta. The first round of that just started earlier today, Wednesday, and will be lasting until Friday around 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So while I cover this, I will have some random Gundabad gameplay in the background that I hope y'all can enjoy. But to start off, let's go ahead and cover update 31.0.3, which is going to be the live patch coming. So the bulk of this update is really bug fixes, but as with the past couple minor patches for update 31, there are going to be some important features to look at. So the very first thing to announce here is going to be the disabling of PvMP armor outside of the Ettenmoors. So your armor and jewelry will be automatically unequipped after you leave the Ettenmoors and will not be able to be used in PvE content. I have a whole video surrounding this topic if you're interested in my opinion. It does say that cloaks will actually be usable still, but they will be disabled at a later date. It just has not happened yet. Moving on, there have been quite a few bug fixes surrounding the landscape of Gundabad, and also to point out for the Assault on Durstrakt instance, there have been a couple changes. First of all, there was an exploit that I never was aware of, where you're able to summon Muta in higher tiers of the instance. Also, a note of highlight here is going to be the effects of Muta's Tenacity of the Dwarves. That buff has been decreased. It was actually increased in a previous patch, now tuned back down. On to the bigger change for this patch is going to be about rewarding Embers. So the two weekly quests for Gundabad, Reclaiming the Mountain Hold and Challenges of Gundabad, one of those is to do 20 dailies, another one is to do 6 instances in a week. They now both award Embers of Enchantment. I believe this was originally intended to be a reward for these weekly quests because that follows the format of Minas Morgul. So yay, more Ember sources. That is actually a really good thing considering our lack of Ember sources right now. But yeah, again, everything else in these sections were going to be bug fixes. There is one more minor note to point out though in the miscellaneous section, and this is going to be a new screen at the end of the installation phase of LOTRO, where the installation wizard, if it runs into an installation problem, there will be red text on it. If you encounter this issue, in the patch notes at least, it says, if you encounter this issue, to contact technical support through help.standingstonegames.com. And that actually wraps it up for update 31.0.3, those patch notes, the main thing being the PvP armor disabling and new Ember sources with the weekly quest. So we can move on here to the beta for update 31.1. And something that you might have been really excited for in update 31.1 is not in the beta, the reward track. That is not in the beta, so cannot test that, and kind of unfortunate circumstance there. Hopefully the reward track is still going to be coming with update 31.1 and not delayed even further, but at least for the first round of the beta it is not there for us to test. Now what is exciting is the 6-man instance for Gundabad is in the beta and is available for testing tiers 1 through 3. I will try to do that in the future, but with the limited beta time and LOTRO not having beta weekends when people can actually play and test that stuff, I probably will not get to it, unfortunately. Now, to go into a little bit of details on the 6-man, that is called Adkat Zahar, the Houses of Rest, and that is basically all I know about it. I believe it might be located, I'm not sure on this, but around Stonejaws and Carbronak, that entrance, somewhere around there, but again, not entirely sure. We will find that out later. Also, of interest for the other instances, the 3-mans that are in Gundabad, there have been some balance changes and fixes. So Den of Puglok still is really buggy even after the first couple waves of fixes that they had with that, including the beta and after it was disabled in the live release. So hopefully it actually starts working now and doesn't bug out too much. Also, in Mozark's fight for the Assault on Durstrakt, it said it decreased the damage of skills from Mozark, which I think is either the Goblin or the Bat. I don't remember the name of which one is actually Mozark, but that is going to be the Goblin/Bat Rider fight. And as far as that fight goes as well, the damage of the Bobbing Run hotspots has been increased, it looks like. Moving on in this beta, there are going to be some class changes, it looks like, but they're pretty small and minor overall than actually more bug fixes. Something of interest for the burglars, it says improve the odds of rare drops being burgled, so sounds more exciting if you're a burgling burglar. And for captains, motivating speech, lower level versions of that was somehow not affecting raid-sized groups, that is, and that should start happening in the future. Also for Guardian, there's very minor change to break ranks, more behind the scenes type stuff, but it will have a visible effect to indicate its remaining cooldown, it looks like, and a fix to the tooltip for Mystifying Flame for the Redline Runekeeper trait. And finally, there is this interesting issue with champions where the Fury of Blades damage tracery was giving damage boost to Merciful Strike, which is probably something you did not want if you actually want to boost Fury of Blades damage, so that should be fixed after this patch 31.1 eventually comes out. Next up, there are going to be a bunch of changes to crafting, housing, and items. For housing, there's just reclassification of some of the furniture that you can get in the Den of Puglok with all the fungal bushes, which are quite pretty and very decorative, so you can place them in furniture or yard, it looks like, as well. Also, there is some hook consolidation with small and large yard hooks being consolidated into just a yard hook. And that looks like it wraps up for housing, and we can move on to the cosmetics part of this section. And of interest for people that like cosmetic rewards, which we all know is the real endgame in LOTRO. For some of the barders in Gundabad, there are going to be new cosmetic rewards. This includes the Zelruka Allegiance, Geode Hunting, and the Honored and Celebrated tiers, so that's reputation for the Reclaimers of the Mountain Hold or the Gundabad rep. Moving on, as far as crafting and items related to crafting goes, it looks like the Gundabad crafting shields can now crit, and they will achieve their correct item level when they do. And also there's this issue with the tailor with medium armor and light armor, the names of some of the items appearing to be switched, and it looks like based on the beta notes here that should be fixed. It just says that pieces that were misleading item names, they are now renamed. And then for the Brawler Pugilist set, which is going to be level 60, minimum level 60, it will now actually properly have that minimum level of 60. And one of the more exciting changes coming to items is going to be more deconstruction of old legendary items and being able to disenchant them for ancient scripts. This includes anything that gives you titles, Crystals of Remembrance, Scrolls of Delving, Scrolls of Renewal, Scrolls of Empowerment, and Legacy Replacement Scrolls. That is 6 whole things, 6 whole new things you will be able to disenchant into ancient scripts from the old system. Again, for people that don't know, Heritage Runes will be used with the Roar track, which again is not in this beta according to the patch notes, and hopefully still will be coming with update 31.1 unless it's delayed again. Okay, so to not repeat that a third time, we will set that aside for good for this video. And moving on, there are a couple PvMP changes, which actually I believe a lot of these have already happened or are coming in 31.0.3. Yeah, that stuff is actually coming with the beta and has already come. There might be 1 or 2 things in there, but it looks like bug fixes type stuff. Anyway, there is a huge section on quest and adventures areas. This includes a lot of bug fixes that might actually come in a patch before update 31.1 comes out, and actually some of them are in 31.0.3. But anyway, the big things, important things we need to know is reducing morale regen rates for 131 to 140 by about 25%. So your morale regen will be a little bit weaker in Gundabad than what it was before. Also, you will now be able to fish in Gundabad waters, which honestly only makes sense because Gundabad, actually the Gundabad crafting cooking uses fish to cook the regen food, so it only makes sense that you'd be able to fish those fish in Gundabad. Also, there has been a change, a positive change for players with these Zelruka Allegiance. So the relic trade up that you can do in the Allegiance is really, really expensive. And it says that the relic trade up values have been adjusted so that it is easier to barter for Zelruka Allegiance rewards. And this is a really good thing to me because that was just insane how many relics you needed to eventually trade up to get any of the Zelruka tokens, which is what you need to get the Allegiance rewards. So that should be a lot better experience. We'll see what that actually is when that comes out though. And finally, the last change in the beta that we have is high elf horse riding animations now match other avatars. I honestly don't get this changed, and I am really questioning it if I'm even having the right conception of it, because one of the things that makes high elves unique is the unique way that they ride horses. So I don't know why they would want to match that to other avatars, assuming avatars means races like human, race of man, dwarf, there's even the base elf, and of course hobbit. So I am questioning that a little bit, and it just seems odd to me, but that's the problem with not actually getting a chance to log into the beta probably at all for this round. Anyway, that is a great point to wrap up this video because we wrapped up the patch notes. Again, as a quick summary, update 31.0.3 coming out later today. This video won't be up until Thursday morning. And the main things with that includes more Embers of Enchantment rewards from the 2 Gundabad weeklies, and the disabling of PvMP armor outside Ettenmoors, and a whole bunch of other bug fixes and the such. And then the update 31.1 beta is going to be wrapping up on Friday, December 3rd around 3 p.m. Eastern, and mainly features the new 6-man instance. So as far as this video goes, I hope y'all enjoyed it and learned something useful, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing for more, or becoming a channel member to support the content and the cats that have been roaming around back there, and thanks for watching, everyone.